think these are, like my good brother said, certain very simplistic, common sense things can change this country beyond what you can think of. And I think the most challenging ministerial appointee in this government, by my standard, is the Minister of Digital Economy. The reason is information must be available. You must know what information you require. You must know that that information is available or not available, whether it is reliable, standardized, and so on and so forth. Look, number one, we always have the National Economic Council. Governors come here to meet with the Vice President as their chair. Why can't we standardize the structures of government at the federal and the state level? Why do we have Ministry of Women Affairs here, and then we have Ministry of, is it stomach, infrastructure or whatever? Why? You know, this is our country. And I think every sector has what they call a national council. The national council, the minister is the chair, and the minister is the image of the president. He is not elected. The president is the elected person. These ministers that you see constitutionally must come from is the image of the president. So anywhere the minister is sitting is taking responsibility of the presidential energy. So number one, we need to standardize so that we can be able to talk to each other. And that standardization can just be done like this in one day. Okay. Two, the Minister of Digital Economy, yes, it's good to get the passport making with the interior correct and so on and so forth. But first, he must be bending backwards to make sure that Population Commission gets it right. He must be bending backward to make sure that every other aspect of government in terms of numbers are actually available and it is accessible. So if he's sitting in Abuja, he must know the strength of information and communication of Zamfara, the strength of information and communication of Borno State, the strength of information communication of Bayelsa. He must know. Otherwise, the structure of the economy is wobbling if you are only talking of federal structures of statistics and so on and so forth, and you leave the states away. So again, it's synergy. Number three, when we have this data gathering, data analysis, data archiving, and so on and so forth, these are intellectual things. It would be nice to see, like he said, our universities, our professors, our own leaders in the polytechnics are directly engaged in implementing these things. Not to go and get a consultant from Dubai to come and say, oh, PricewaterhouseCoopers to come and do your management, blah, blah, blah. Why can't you say for once in the next 5 years, we should be able to be doing 1, 2, 3 by ourselves? And you have the engines. So again, it's standardizing and synergy. Number four, we must make sure that the ingredients of partnership, assisting each other in terms of complementarity and so on and so forth, works for us. Why can't one of the economic councils that was met, and you remember when they challenged the social register of the National Social Investment Program. But you cannot believe it, that social register is totally a state thing. But the argument at the Economic Council was that it is a federal. Federal never generated data. I was there. It is the state register. It is hosted in the Ministry of Planning of that. And it is actually handled by civil servants in that state. But a governor of that state will come and say, I never knew about it. This synergy is not working. Somebody should have said, Haba, the thing is the state coordinating unit is in your state. It is manned by your staff. Your commissioner of planning is the head of the whole thing. How can you say that? You know, but we don't, like Oga said here, we allow it. And that distorted the whole thing. And I think that was the process that got the whole ministry into challenges. We have to go and verify it. You verify what already is existing is in the same way, you know. So to me, these things can be addressed if we resolve to ensure that we like our country, we fear God, and we can be able to synergize together. The politics is important and the democratic process is important. I think that too. The leaders at the highest level, the president and the governor, must resolve to make sure that we must get these things right. And as I said, unless you put a standard to certain things, you will continue uprooting the tree to see if there are roots and then putting it back every time you come to. But there has to be standards. You cannot be a local government chairman if you are not this. You cannot be a senator if you are not this. You cannot be a House of Reps. So struggle, work hard. If it is schooling, go to school. If it is trying to run a business to get a bit of commercial experience, do something. If you are civil service or employment, you must be able to get that minimum. Gradually, we can get better. But if we continue like we're going now, every time, particularly we change a government after 4 or 8 years, we change everything totally. We lose the institutional memory. In fact, we blame the past, and we spend 2 or 3 years blaming the past until our own comes, and then somebody else will come and blame us again. So that vicious cycle of waste of time, I think we have to crack it, and it is doable.
It's doable.
It's doable in our country. And we, like he said, we've started seeing signals from His Excellency the President challenging certain things. Don't travel. Yes, what I was asking him was, I just asked a rhetorical question. Do you think this is going to get better? But by now, immediately this policy is flung out. The Office of Statistics, the Planning Commission, the digital economy should in the next 1 week be able to say to Nigeria that by implementing this presidential directive, we will save this, because in the last 6 months, what we have done, this is the quantum of money, so that we don't just sit and say the president said and then nobody knows. This is what encourages the population to see that a policy has been introduced and is working. And then maybe 1 year down the line, or the 6 months or 3 months down the line, you can actually see.
Like what happened during the PTF era?
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
So, quantum of money that has been saved by cutting down on governance is
once you start doing that, maybe the state governments too will start gradually picking it up. But if you just leave the policy to float, and some people, Nigerians are very good at working so hard to oppose things. I call it negative development. And we just come up with a new way of destroying something that is good. But instantly, institutions that are existing should be able to come up to support the presidential pronouncement, to say that by doing this, this is what is going to happen. In fact, last time, no secret, last time we did 1, 2, 3, take a sample of the visit to Dubai, the visit to America, the hunger, and so on and so forth. Put a figure. In reality, the data is there. Somebody paid it. And then you'll be able to, if we do that, this is what we're going to say.
Okay, and so what I